All right, welcome back to the Patrick Show for the 18th episode. We're here at Thomasville Senior High School, home of the Bulldogs. As you can see behind me is a bunch of cases of trophies, conference championships, whatnot, with multiple sports. But besides that, let's get to the podcast. All right, peace. All right, welcome back to the Patrick Show. This is the 18th episode here. We're located at Thomasville, home of the Bulldogs. Beside me, next to me is the basketball program, Coach Ferguson to my right, and then to my left is Lucky. So I'm going to go ahead and give y'all both the floor now. I'm going to start off with you, Coach. Let the people know a little bit about yourself, your coaching experience and whatnot.
Sure. First of all, thanks for coming. I think It's really neat that you're showcasing all the schools in the area, and it's always good to get these guys in front of a mic and get their word out there. So thanks for that. This is my second year, wrapped up my second year coaching the boys program at Thomasville. 3 years before that, I was the girls coach here at Thomasville.
Okay.
Prior to that, I was coaching in Arkansas, of all places. So I actually played basketball, grew up in West Virginia, played 4 years college ball at Guilford College, and then went out to Arkansas to be a college basketball coach on the Division II level. Did that for 3 years, met my husband, and then coached 4 years in Arkansas on the high school level before moving out here. So,
Gotcha. You've been all over the place,
yeah,
it sounds like. And then I'm going to move on to you, Lucky. Tell us a little bit about your playing days, how many years you played varsity, and what other sports you play.
I've been playing varsity since I've been a freshman, and I've been playing football, basketball, and baseball.
Football, basketball, and baseball, yeah. So triathlete. And do you have any plans moving forward since you're a senior, of course?
I plan on going to college to play football.
Play football. All right, that's perfect. And as always on the show, we're going to go ahead and say a quick prayer before we continue the podcast. So if not, we go ahead and bow our heads. Father God, I thank you for another day that you provide each and every one of us, Lord. I ask that the opportunity that you give us, Lord, that we do not lean on our own understanding, Lord, that we can lean on to you, that we read your word, that we can build our relationship with you, Lord, that whenever times get tough, whenever days are good or bad, Lord, that we're able to continue to find ways to honor and glorify your name. In the Lord's name we pray, amen. Amen. And always on the podcast, we start off with the hot take. Usually it's, a question that's going to be entertaining. We'll say that. We'll say entertaining. So I'm going to start off with you, Coach.
Sure.
Obviously, you're a female here. What difficulties have you faced being a female on coaching men's varsity basketball?
It hasn't been as difficult as I thought it would be.
Okay.
I'm a little bit surprised to find that the drama is still there with boys a little bit, The funniest thing that has happened, and kind of in the second year it didn't happen as much, is the refs will walk right past me and go shake my assistant coach's hands and go up to them and think that they're the head coaches. And so just establishing myself as the head of the program is a little hard to find film at times, get a lot of phone calls back. You sure you meant to call us? That sort of thing. So no really challenges with the guys, but just awesome. It's a little outside of the norm. So,
yes, man, right. Yeah. Gotcha. And then I'm going to move on to you, Lucky. You're listed on Max Preps, you're 5'6", so you're, typically one of the shorter guys on the floor, but you're still able to get buckets. Buckets, you're an assist guy, you get stats. At the end of the day, when you look at the stats, you're on the top of the list. And I want to know, what things are you efficient in being able to score and whatnot?
Me being the shortest person on the court, usually I'm the fastest person on the court.
Gotcha.
So
yep.
I try to get a lot of fast break layups, shoot a lot of floaters.
Yep.
And I'm a point guard, so I can get my teammates into it.
Yep.
So I like sharing the ball.
Gotcha, absolutely. Yeah, I've played a few times against them. Hey, the floater game was on cue right there. Lefty as well. So with that, and then I got a part 3 hot take. Usually I don't do that, but I want one with both of y'all. 4 years, as you said, Lucky, being on the varsity floor, you've had a lot of success on the program, a lot of great teammates as well. And I know it's a difficult question to ask, but I'm going to start off with you, Lucky. Which team would you say has been the most well-rounded team out of the 4 years here?
I have to say my junior year team.
Junior year, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, who? Just name us a few of those players on that team.
We had Janhri Carolina, Nick Washington, and we had most of our seniors.
Yep.
This year, they was on the team, so yeah.
Gotcha. And what about you, Coach?
It's hard.
Right.
I think both years we've been a lot different, and so In the full court game, I would take last year's team. We were able to use the bench a little bit more for that, and we did some run and jump and really enjoyed that. I thought this year we were able to change and pivot a lot and do more of a half-court trap and things like that. So I would say it depends on the opponent that we're about to play, and I would give you an answer.
Okay, that's a good answer. That's a good answer, Coach. And I would piggyback on what y'all said. I would say when you look at, I believe that 21 season was the most well-rounded team. Like you were saying, the few of the seniors on the program, only 2. But this year's team, I mean, obviously just did as well, being first in conference out of the 30 games, going 24-6. But with that, we'll just keep rolling with this current season. Like I just said, 24-6. Fourth round into the playoffs, losing against third round to Bishop McGinnis. That's right, because the 21 season, that's when y'all had went fourth in the round, but was second in conference. But besides that, we'll strike straight into this season, going 24-6. 2 of those losses were against Salisbury, and I want y'all to hit no on that. What were some things that Salisbury gave y'all trouble in?
You know, they're a really good team. Look at how far they went. And so, you know, we're in a blended conference. We're not just playing 1A schools. And, even with our non-conference schedule, we played those bigger teams. Salisbury was well-rounded just like we were. They returned a lot of players. I think that those 2 games that they won,
yes, ma'am,
they were able to stick to the game plan a little bit better and be a little bit more focused than we were. You know, they got us 2 times, we got them 1. I know that we held number 2 to his season low in points, and I also think that we gave them a lot more than other people did. And so I'll tell you this, if we could play one more game, I'm going to take the Bulldogs every time.
Gotcha. I love to hear that. Anything else you'd like to add besides that?
You know, like she said, that was a good team. And we just, like Coach told us heading into the games that we had to box out.
Yep.
And that was our win, and we didn't box out.
Yeah, I feel that. But I totally missed the first question. My first question will go back a little bit, and we'll talk about the out-conference games. You know, you play, as you just mentioned, being a 1A/2A conference, you play a lot of 3A schools, and you even played a 4A school as well, I saw. But talk to us on how that helps benefit the team in the long run.
It's huge. You know, I don't know that in terms of RPI it helped us at times because – you know, if you have a cupcake schedule, I think some of those teams that didn't play as tough competition maybe finished a little bit higher at times, but we were really challenged. And, you know, the Bishop McGinnis game obviously extended past regulation, but that wasn't the first overtime game that we had. And so we've been in that situation. We'd seen ourselves be successful in that situation. We played different teams. We want to play tall teams, short teams, quick teams, slow teams, teams that played like the mountain teams, quick teams like us. So we tried to just be exposed as much as we could to find where our weaknesses were to sharpen those before we got into postseason play.
Awesome. And then what about you, Lucky? You know, playing against the Oak Grove, the Central Davidson, those 3A schools, how does that help prepare you and the team?
Playing those teams, it got us ready for, like, contact, height, us being small.
Right.
So it just got us ready for playoffs.
Gotcha. And then with that, we'll roll into the playoffs, and where it was actually here on this basketball floor where y'all won back-to-back home playoff matches. Talk to us, Coach, about those 2 wins and how it helped the program.
You know, we looked at everything that happened his junior year as preparation for this year. And so, again, what can we learn from that, taking it forward? And I thought, you know, if you rewind 2 years ago, our first-round game was tougher than maybe we expected it to be just based on rankings and things of that nature. So we had a bad habit of taking opponents lightly.
Yes, ma'am.
And it was a closer game than it probably needed to be, second round. You know, obviously, I think that was the buzzer beater. Still remember it right here. And so that was a really close game. And so this year going into playoffs on our home court, you know, we knew that we needed to take care of business, and we couldn't really afford to mess around as much. And so it was big for these guys to get a big win. They started to get the Thomasville community out and supporting even more, and so it was good to have everybody really supporting what we were doing. These guys played really tough. We would have loved to have that third-round game here as well, but, you know, they showed to me how far they had progressed.
Yes, ma'am. That's awesome. And what about you? You know, having back-to-back home games as a senior, what did that mean to you?
Having 2 back-to-back home games is kind of fun.
Right.
Seeing, knowing that, like, it's going to be the last games playing there.
Yep.
So, yeah, and we just like us, her in practice, she telling us like our first round game is going to be hard because we're not going to play none of the bad teams no more.
Right.
Good teams.
Yep. And like we talked about, I'm sure those out-conference games gave y'all preparation for those. And I'm sorry I keep going back and forth with it, but we'll rewind a little bit and go back to the Ledford game. On my last podcast, if you haven't checked out, it was episode 17. I had Nate Carr and the football coach, Christopher Doby. And those two guys, I remember you go to that game. It was a buzzer beater win for Ledford right here on that court. But, having those tough matchups like that, what was the motto, I guess you could say, after that tough loss to continuation of the season?
Well, I think whenever you can play the teams in the community, right, and you're going to get a lot of fans, you're going to get a big crowd here. We have always showed up pretty tough against Ledford. Right?
You have, yes, ma'am.
And so I think we got the win this year, didn't we, against them at their place? So
okay, yep,
so
sure did.
We, that to me simulates the playoff atmosphere that you're looking for. And again, they're very familiar with us. We're very familiar with them. I mean, Nate is incredible and tough to guard. And, again, you're going to be challenged in different ways. They're coached really, really well. And so just as many games like that we can get, I think it's good for us. It's good for the community. Gets people out, and it really gives our kids a chance to shine and show what they can do.
Gotcha. What about you? What did that game mean to you?
That Ledford is right down the street.
Right.
And then crosstown rival. It's kind of fun and very anticipated matchup.
Absolutely. Yep. I feel that. And then we'll fast forward now back to the Bishop against the final game of the season. Bishop against a very tough opponent. But talk to us just about the ups and downs of that game and how it outplayed, because obviously it was a nail-biter overtime.
It was, and, again, packed house, everything that we've been exposed to.
Right.
We did a much better job in the second half, than we did in the first half of getting the looks that we wanted and doing a good job defensively. And boxing out, they murdered us on the boards in the first half. And so we were able to go into the locker room at halftime and know, hey, we got, I think, in the entire first half, one offensive rebound, and that was like a team offensive rebound where it just went out of bounds off their foot or something, right? So we needed to make some changes. We went into our trap a little bit in the second half, and we saw a lot of really good things. We got some minutes out of kids that we returned who hadn't played as much, which is a good sign for the future. Of course, McCoy went down in the third quarter, which hurt us. Gladden had a huge game. I feel like even when we go into the overtime periods, we had looks to win the game, which is at that point in the season, in the locker room, we talked about the fact, look, to us, again, you could put us up against anybody. I'm going to take the Bulldogs. You can think that you're the best team. You can, on paper, be the best team, but the best team doesn't always win on any given night. And so that's where you can really reflect what we do in life lessons and know, did we walk away giving it our all? Can we be satisfied with the effort that we put forth? I think in that game, the answer was yes. Unfortunately, it just didn't translate into us moving on. Right.
I completely agree, like what you were saying, just because based off the paper, it doesn't necessarily mean who's going to win that match. But talk to us as well. What did that mean for you? How were your emotions riding, of course, being your final match, your final basketball game?
Going into the game, it was very anticipated, and we had confidence in us winning the game. But the first half, we kind of our adrenaline was high, so we all was rushing stuff. But the second half, we all just calmed down. We played and we came back. For us, the overtime. But just in overtime, we missed some shots and made some mistakes.
Fell short. And I know that, as always, I just graduated this past year, but, you're always going to remember your final games and, what you could have done, what you could have done better and whatnot. But, I'm glad that doesn't mean anything, because y'all still have a phenomenal season, like I said, 24-6 out of the 30 matches, number one in conference. So, you definitely made some history here at the Thomasville program. And we'll fast forward to college now. And, it's It's March Madness, of course. And if you had told me anything about who was going to be in the Final Four, whether or not it was in the men's, but obviously in women's as well, it tends to be pretty consistent, the 1 or 2 seed in the Final Four. But I guess, what do you like to watch? Which one do you favor more to?
I'm enjoying the heck out of coaching boys.
Okay.
I love the women's college game.
Okay.
And so these guys are sick of me talking about Caitlin Clark. I've been talking about her for 2 or 3 years now, and I feel so justified now, that she's going all out. And so actually we have a pretty big bracket challenge, and it's for bragging rights, but I think we had like 46 brackets turned in this year. So my office is papered with all of them.
Yep.
So many red X's on the men's side. It's so bad.
Yes.
And then on the women's side, this guy actually correctly predicted the Final Four on the women's side. So I haven't. He's just been bragging about it and rubbing it in a little bit. I like the women's game, but apparently he knows more than me in basketball, so that hurts my pride a little bit.
And then what about you? Who do you got winning a championship for men's and women's? I want to hear who you got.
My men's bracket, I had Kansas.
Yeah.
So that's not going to happen no more. So I guess Miami.
Yeah. I would say the same, being an ACC. Unfortunately, Duke lost in the second round. But, I would root for the ACC and go with Miami as well. But that leads to the big-time question. Big-time question here. And I'm going to start off with you, Lucky. Having, I'm looking right across from us, having 5 seniors. You having still got a young core on the program for basketball. What can we expect from Thomasville in the future?
Careful what you say here.
Well, I expect big plans for Thomasville. Her being the coach.
Yes.
So she's not going to take no slack from nobody. So I expect them to keep winning.
Keep it nice, short, and sweet. What about you, Coach?
We from day one, we as a staff have tried to preach the idea of what we do here is not just about what happens on the basketball court on Tuesday and Friday nights. It's bigger than basketball. It translates into their careers moving forward.
Yes, ma'am.
And so if Nari leaves here and he doesn't conduct himself to the best of his ability in school moving forward and in the workforce, if Jalen Henry and John Gladden and JP and Elliott, if they don't go on and really take some of the lessons that we've tried to instill in them and that they've shown that they've learned moving forward, then I feel like we've not done a good job. We can talk about all the conference championships in the world, but those are the things that matter to us. And so that's the first thing we're really looking forward in terms of future success, right? Gotcha. In terms of basketball, I take it back to those guys. This was a group 2 years ago when, they had every reason in the world to not buy in to the coaching change that happened. It didn't look like anything that they had seen before, and these guys were very open about it, and they bought in and they worked hard, and they've laid an incredible foundation. Right. And again, to take it back to Bishop McGinnis in the locker room, we talked about if they don't care what happens to this program moving forward, any future success, then they're not the guys that I think they are. And so what we do moving forward will be a testament to the foundation that they laid, just like what they were able to do this season was a testament to Lameek and Jabri from last season. And so we'll try to build on it. We look forward to future success. Hopefully our point guard will go right a little bit next year too, whoever that is. I'm just kidding. You're awesome. You know that. But, we'll try to keep it moving, but this is not the end of what you've heard from Thomasville basketball.
I love that. That's a fantastic answer, Coach. And as always, when we wrap up the show, I'm going to give you, Coach, when you look at someone like Nari or other people who are looking to go to flip to the next chapter of college, what advice would you give to anybody like that?
To always live by our definition of success. And I'm not going to put him on spot in front of you. You got it?
Tell us.
What is it?
Definition of success is self-satisfaction and peace of mind knowing you did everything to be the best you can be.
Okay.
And so they know that. They've got to, if I catch them in the grocery store, they got to answer it or else I'd make them do push-ups or something like that. But, that applies to not just did we give the best we could on a given possession, anything like that, but again, are we going to class? Are we just sitting in class, or are we being participants in our own future?
Right.
Are we, he's got an interview for a scholarship here coming up. Is he prepared for it? Is he doing everything he can do to be the best that he can be? And, that to me is going to be what makes all the sacrifices and everything that we've done here worth it. Basketball is just a tool to help teach them that.
Absolutely. And before we wrap up, would you like to add any comments or advice yourself? Nah. I mean, the success, that acronym worked perfectly. But as always on the podcast, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, check out the merchandise. And as we head out, we'll just say peace on 3, all right?
All right.
1, 2, 3. Peace.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.